Hey, Jermaine Griggs here, entrepreneur and motivational speaker. And in this video, I wanted to share a philosophy that I've been using for literally over a decade to revolutionize my business and to revolutionize my life. If you've heard my story before, you'll know that at the age of around 17, I started a company, hearandplay.com. It was August 6, 2000, in my grandma's one-bedroom apartment living in the inner city. And I had this dream and vision to change the way the world learned music. And we started with just a dream and $70, and years later, we're a multi-million-dollar company. But I can attribute part of that to this philosophy that I want to share with you in this video. And that philosophy is no other than Kaizen. It is a Japanese term, and Americans call it continuous improvement. But in the Japanese language, it is my understanding that it only means improvement. But whether you see it as continuous improvement or one-time improvement, the key word is improvement. And I remember when I had to come to grips with my own beliefs, things I believed as a child, or things I believed because of my environment, or my conditions, or my abilities, or responses from my teachers. And I remember joining this world of personal development and understanding at a real intimate level that I could be anything and I can accomplish anything, and that things aren't set in stone. Right? You've got two primary mindsets out there, that things are either fixed, and there's some people that believe they're either smart or they're not. They're destined to be rich or broke. They have what it takes or they don't. And they think that things are just fixed. So they either go into situations fighting to be proven that they're smart, or they avoid things like that. You give a kid a puzzle with a fixed mindset and they'll want to stay at the easy puzzle. But you take a kid with that second mindset, and that's a growth mindset, not a fixed, but a growth mindset. Adults, kids, you take a kid with a growth mindset and they'll want that next puzzle. They'll want that challenging puzzle, right? Fixed mindset, scared to fail. So they stay in comfort zones and safe zones. Growth mindsets, right? They're okay with learning, with growing, with continuously improving. And if you want to read the book on it, Dr. Carol Dweck, entitled Mindset, talks about the two different ones. Now, suffice it to say that this video is about the second mindset, the growth mindset. And the foundation of that is this concept of Kaizen, right? Continuous improvement. That means today I'm not the same as I was yesterday. And scientifically, there's no such thing as like neutral. There's no such thing as staying still, right? We're all in motion, right? When you take a chemistry class and you understand particles and protons and neutrons and electrons, and, I didn't get the best grade in chemistry, but I understand that the essence of everything, these particles that make up things and objects, and even what scientists are realizing are thoughts, subatomic particles. You can't see them, but they're a real thing that people are measuring under microscopes, and everything is in motion. So you're either dying or you're living. You're either growing or you're shrinking. There's no such thing as staying the same. And even if you think you're staying the same, the world is passing you by, so you're really becoming behind, whether you like it or not. So growth mindset, Kaizen, continuous improvement, right? Now, how do you improve? Well, one thing that I realized, I was fortunate in my early days when I got accepted into the University of California, and I was building this hear and play business with the goal to teach the world how to play music the way I had learned it, which is by ear, not with sheet music. And so I was in law, criminology and law undergrad, but on the side, I was working this business. And I remember coming across a website, it was called internetmarketing.com at the time. And I bought that course, right? Because even before I understood the research and the science behind it, I had a growth mindset that where I am today does not dictate where I can be tomorrow, that I can learn it, that things are not fixed because, my current circumstances say this, they don't have to stay that way, that I can learn and I can become. And people with the fixed mindset, they think things just are. People with growth mindsets know that things are becoming. And whether they know the word Kaizen or not, they embrace continuous improvement. They know it's not going to be here overnight, but they're willing to enjoy the journey and the progress towards that improvement. And it's not always a fast-paced thing. You know, we're the microwave society. Everybody wants things, like my grandma would say, quick and in a hurry. But Kaizen says it's the continuous, diligent, discipline actions, right? You've probably heard it put this way. The race is not given to the swift or the strong, but to him or her that endures to the end, right? You want to be the tortoise or you want to be the hare. Now, Kaizen has been applied to all facets of life and industry, right? You had Toyota who took the concept and used it in manufacturing, right? But you've got people in personal development that use it, in life coaching that use this concept, because we can all improve. One helpful thing that Kaizen teaches us in this constant, never-ending, continuous improvement is to plan, then do, then check, then act, right? Successful people that want to continuously improve, first of all, they plan what they want to do. They plan their goals. They plan what life and business or their aspirations, their career goals are going to look like next month, next quarter, next year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years. They plan. You've heard it said clicheically, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? But after they plan, they do, right? A lot of people miss this step. All right, they get excited, they make their plans, first of the year, we make all of these New Year's resolutions, but we don't do. Or we do for a little bit, thinking that we're supposed to see results. I remember when I was 40 pounds heavier than I am today, and I was overweight, business was successful, but my health was diminishing, and I had pre-diabetes and pre-hypertension and the things that come with increased weight. And I'm a young man. I haven't even turned 30 yet at this point. And I made that change. And the first thing that I had to do was plan how I was going to make these improvements. And then secondly, I had to start doing. I had to start making changes in my diet. I had to start adding regular exercise, and not the type where I'm looking in the mirror next week looking for six-pack abs, because it just doesn't work that way. But the next third step is you got to check. You got to check and see if what you're doing is improving whatever it is that you want to improve, right? They say you can't manage what you don't measure. So in these days and age, like if you take my weight example, I got apps. I got the Withing scale, which tracked my weight. I didn't just get on there when I wanted to. I got on there the same time every morning or every other day. And now I had this scale. It's a Withing scale that connected to an app of mine, right? It has an app. And now I can track my weight. I can see it on a graph. I can see my improvement. I can see if it slows down or if it is speeding up or increasing, or if I make one little change over here, what the impacts and the results of that change are over here. So you have to check, and you have to have ways to constantly check in to see if you're moving in the right direction. Right? Systematize what you do. All right. So that's my way of systematizing, getting that scale. And then when I ate stuff, right, I got an app, MyFitnessPal. Some of you guys might be familiar with that. And I made a rule to myself, a system to myself. A system is something you stick to emphatically and methodically. Can't nobody change your mind when you've got a system, a personal system. And I made up that, by the way, something you stick to emphatically and methodically. And so for me, it was everything that entered my mouth. I had to track it, and I had to put it into this MyFitnessPal app. And with those two things, Kaizen was in effect. So I planned it, I did, and I acted, right? I did what I needed to do, right? Not act, let's just say do, because act is actually the fourth step. You check, and then finally you see what, the improvements are, and then you act based on that. Because sometimes you make changes or you act and you don't get the response that you want. You don't move in the positive direction. And so you have to act and respond to that, which leads you back to planning, right? Do you have to make changes? Do you continue doing what you're doing? Do you take it to the next level? Whatever that is, it's continuous improvement. And remember, it doesn't come overnight. I'm reminded of the 30-day penny analogy, right? If I said, I give you $3 million now, or I'll give you a penny that doubles every day for 30 days. Which one would you take? Would you take the money now? Or would you be willing to wait to see what that penny doubles into? Now, the way the question is asked is kind of skewed, but some of you, even with that, you said, I'll take the $3 million. I don't care what the penny turns into. But what happens is that penny, right, 31 days, that penny turns into $5 million. But after day 7, that penny's still only like, I think 64 cents after day 7. I think after like 14 days, that penny is still only about $60, right? Because it's doubling. 1 penny's turning into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, 8 into 16, 16 to 32, right? But around day 25, see, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, well, it's just not happening for me, right? But it's not supposed to, not overnight, but around day 25, that penny, goes from like 100,000, 125 to 250, and then from like 250 to 500, then 500,000 to a million into 2, and that's where it happens. And that's how compounding works. Even in the stock market, right? You put in money, and in the beginning, it's slow, but you let that compounding take effect over years and decades, and you look up and you've got millions of dollars sitting there on regular, consistent, right, deposits. That's Kaizen. That's continuous improvement. So I want to remind you, who are you? Do you believe things are fixed? Do you believe the intelligence you have, the abilities you have, the skills you have, the training, the knowledge, the wisdom you have? Do you believe things are just fixed and you are who you are and you'll never change and therefore won't put effort to change and will, put that off? Or do you have a growth mindset and you believe things are dynamic? They're not static. I can be better. I can improve. I can consistently challenge myself. I can get to the next level. I can do what I have to do to realize the goals, the dreams, the aspirations that I want to realize. I am becoming. I am not stagnant. I am not static. I am dynamic. I am becoming. I am doing. I am growing. And that, my friends, is never-ending, continuous improvement. Now, if you like what I talked about here, feel free to Google Kaizen and learn all about the different types of strategies and things that you can employ. But it's my job to expose you to things that maybe you haven't heard before, philosophies and things that I live by, things that I remember. And that's the goal at JermaineGriggs.com. So head over to JermaineGriggs.com, subscribe to my blog, get on my email list, see past videos that I put out, podcasts, interviews, things I've got over there for you to help you live a better, more abundant life. All right, so Jermaine Griggs signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.